Hello quilty friends and welcome back to my channel. My name's Rachel and I make videos about quilting and my creative life. Anywhere that you can find me on the web is listed down in the video description below, and that includes extra weekly content over on my Patreon page. Now today is a follow-on video from last week where I shared with you how to make the Tilda Campervan quilt block, and today I'll be sharing with you how to turn it into a beautiful tote bag. You will of course seen what the finished product looks like from the video thumbnail, but let me show you what I've done so far and I'll talk you through how I've got to this point, and then we'll start assembly of the bag. So I have made the panel. So I made this in the last video. The reason why I split this into two videos is because you could make this bag with any quilt block that you like. Not everyone will want to use the Campervan quilt block, but it will translate into anything. Any block, you could do it with hexagons, anything you like. So I've got this block. It is made, the whole project is going to be made with a new fabric by Poppy Cotton called Hey Love Bug, and I really liked it because it's got VW beetle cars on it, and it also looks like a VW campervan, doesn't it? So I have made the block, I've sandwiched it up with foam. So this is foam wadding, very similar to Soft and Stable. It adds a really nice dimension, and doesn't the quilting just really make it pop? Mr. Stitch told me that this is like washboard quilting, and I don't think he's very wrong. So it's going to be a really good size bag. So the bag pattern that I'm using is a Minky Kim pattern. I'll leave the link to the pattern in the description, but she also has a free video tutorial. Of course, out of respect to Minky Kim, I'm not going to release the measurements or anything, but I have had to adapt it slightly just to fit the block. So with the whole panel, I added 1.5 inch strip all the way around to the edge. And with her pattern, I should have put the handles underneath this block here. So I'm going to have to perhaps just attach the handles to the front of the bag. But we'll come on to that when we're in the construction phase. What I really like about this bag pattern and why I chose it is because it folds down flat. The bottom gusset construction is constructed in a way that you can just fold it flat, and it doesn't take up a lot of room when you're not using it, which I thought was ideal. The foam stabilizer is brilliant. I much prefer this for bags than regular staple. I've got a thread on the back there that I've just pulled, so I'm going to cut that before it. This offers so much more stability than regular, I was going to say that it stands up by itself, but clearly it doesn't. But it just offers so much more just scrumminess. It's so lovely. Look at the texture. You just wouldn't get that texture on regular wadding. So anyway, let's begin the construction. So I've got some regular cotton webbing for the handles, but I'm going to completely cover my handles in this fabric from the collection. So I will make a sleeve and insert the handles into that. That's slightly different from in the pattern, because in the pattern she just lays the fabric over the handles. So I think I'm going to change that. Here is the bottom gusset, so the base of the bag. And I am also going to adjust the pattern and add an internal pocket. So this pocket will just hang on the inside, so it won't leave any visible seams on the back. And I'm going to put a zip across the middle there. So I'll show you how I'm going to do that. The bag pattern also has a little clasp attachment, and that goes on the outside, so you can hang like a little purse or a charm or something. And then the back of my bag is one of the coordinating fabrics, and it is very possible to make this. Oh, is it actually? I was about to say it's very possible to make it with fat quarters, but I don't quite think it is because of the lining. If you're happy with different linings, then you could do, but that was just slightly smaller than a fat quarter. So we've got two panels, we'll put them together. Oh, the binding. So the whole project is going to be bound in this lovely fabric. So it's such a playful and bright project. So let's get sewing. I thought I'd better test out the handles that I plan to make before I show you how to make it, and I am happy with how this has come out, and it's very comfortable. So I have got 1.5 inch bag handle webbing. It's not like the tightest weave of webbing, it's quite loose, and I don't think it would make a totally durable strap just by itself. It might make a good crossbody one. So I was like, I'll either need to cover it entirely or do it as Minky Kim did and put a strip down front and back, I thought, with this, which would have been nice. This colour does match quite nicely, but I decided to make a sleeve. So this is 1.5 inch, and I cut a piece of fabric at 3 3/4 of an inch. I'm going to join it with a 1/2 inch seam, turn it through, press the seam. I just pressed it to one side, but if you want to press it open before you turn it through, you are more than welcome to. So I turned it through, and then with great difficulty inserted this through it, but then tried to, when I had it in its final position, made sure that the seam was on the back of the handle in the center rather than at the side. And then I've positioned the seams so they're at the back, folded it in half and sewn it for a good 8.5 inches. I've sewn it in half, and that makes it really nice and comfortable to hold the handle there. So I'm going to repeat that, and when I attach it to the bag, I'm going to try and do it in such a way where this will be the front of the handle. Obviously when the handle flops down, so if that's going to be the front of the handle when it's upright, when the handle flops down, of course you'll be able to see the seam. But seams are part of sewing, aren't they? We all know that seams exist, so that will be my bag handle. What do you think? Does it look good? So because of how I attached these incorrectly, didn't do it as per the pattern, I didn't do my prep right, I was too rushed to get this panel quilted, I'm going to have to attach them underneath the binding. So I'm kind of thinking that I might do that inside the bag so that it doesn't ruin any of the look from the front. The handles will look like that. I'm going to get on and make the other one. I'll save you the view of doing it. You'll probably all be able to do it from what I did, but it was very frustrating to turn it inside out. Now I know there's all these ways to do it, but it was also very frustrating to thread the one into the other. So let's go again. Now you all know that I love a little bit of multitasking while I'm doing my sewing. Whether I'm watching something on my iPad or sometimes scrolling on my phone, which I'm trying to get out of the habit of doing so much throughout the day. And over the last month or so, I've been getting into playing a game on my phone called June's Journey, and they are very kindly sponsoring today's video. Now, June's Journey is a hidden object mystery game set in the 1920s, so you have a real immersive feel to the game. It's just beautiful graphics. And especially if you like vintage things like I do. You follow June's journey as she uncovers family secrets and also investigates the death of her sister and brother-in-law. As you move through the game, there's new scenes to unlock, new clues to find, and new things to decorate your island. And of course, there's seasonal content. You get to decorate your island with scary things, pumpkins, graveyards, tombstones, that type of thing. And that is one of my favourite elements of the game, getting to decorate your island. I've been enjoying the escapism of it all. You can just really immerse yourself into the game just for 10-15 minutes, half an hour, even longer if you can. If you would also like to give it a go, you can click the link in my video description or scan the QR code and download June's Journey completely free of charge. There's nothing to pay to access or play the game, and it's available on iOS, Android, on mobile and tablet devices, and also on the PC. So thank you very much to June's Journey for sponsoring today's video. See what I mean about this turning through being tedious work? I ought to use this chopstick I've got in my hand. Both of the handles are done, and I'm going to go ahead and baste them into place now before I forget to completely attach them, because that would just be my luck. If I'm attaching it to the back, I'll just mark it, fold it in half and add a little mark. So just with a heat erasable pen, I'm marking that. And then I'm just going to mark with a ruler a set amount from either side, and then get my straps basted into place there. So we want it to be that way forwards. So I'll just use my centre line that I stitched down the middle of the straps to mark up with those markings. Just pin them in place, and then on the machine like very close to the edge, just baste them into place. And now is going to be, for me, the most crucial test. Does it go on your arm? Yes, it does easily go on my arm. I probably can't get it on straight like that. It's not quite enough, but it goes on my arm, so it's long enough to sit and carry it on my shoulder when it's full of rubbish or purchases at quilt shows. But also, importantly, when I'm holding it, it doesn't drag on the floor. So it is a sweet spot between the handle length, I find. I made this bag quite a while ago, and these straps aren't quite long enough to go over my shoulder. They do in a pinch, but it's not very comfortable. The bag's right up in my armpit, so this is going to be perfect. My straps were about 23 inches in total. Obviously, yeah, they'll go a bit shorter, won't they, when I've put the binding on, but I think I've still got plenty of room there to get it on and put it on my arm like that. It's so cute. I can't stop looking at it and just smiling. So, following Minky's tutorial now, we need to attach the binding to the top and the bottom of both of these. If you want to follow along the tutorial that she's made, I'll leave the link to her video in my video description. If you need measurements and specifics, you will need to purchase the pattern. But binding to the top and the bottom now, and then I think we attach the bottom gusset and the side seams, and then we're all done. Just seems to come together so quick once you've done all the hard work, which is case for most things, isn't it? I've just luckily remembered my pocket. I want to add the internal pocket, don't I? So I've cut these, I think they're 6.5 by 11 inch. Let me just check. 6.5 by 9 inch. So I've done a front, that's my lining, and that's the back of the pocket, and they both have woven interfacing to them, and this is another matching set. The back panel to the pocket, I've basted it all around, so those two are secure, but with this lining I need to insert the zip, so I need the lining and the front panel separate. So let me show you how to insert the zip. I've got a really nice zip. It's like a gingham printed zip. This was from Rose Garden Patchwork. So I want to have a lot of that zip exposed and showing. So I'm not going to put my zip right close to the zipper teeth like you normally would. I'm going to try and have a bit of it exposed if I can. But I find zips just come out how they want to come out. I'm lucky if I get a zip in the first place. So all I'm going to do with my front and lining pieces right on top of each other, that's just a bit of interfacing hanging out. I'm just going to rotary cut them at the point where I would like my zip to be inserted. I'm thinking perhaps at the 2.5 inch mark. That will give me enough clearance at the top of the bag to be able to shove my hand in, I think. So yeah, let's cut it at 2.5 inch. And this is just going to be a nice pocket just to put your keys, your phone, if you've got your bank card or something like that. So your pocket will look something like that. So all I'm going to do is this top panel, I'm going to align it with the top of the zip, right sides towards the zip. This one, the lining, turn it right sides up and put it like that. And to check it's going to come out right, just visualize it with that seam. That will fold up and that one will fold backwards. So yep, that will come out fine. And just get them lined up at the side. And I'm just going to join down there. I will pin that. And then fold that back. Bring the zip out the way and give it a press with the iron, just pulling everything so it's nice and even. So give that a press with the iron, avoiding the teeth, and then top stitch along this edge here, about 1/8 of an inch away from the zip. And that's how the top of the zip will look. So now for the bottom of the zip, you need to bring that over the top there. I think that will go. So again, let's just check. That will fold up, and that is, yeah, still the correct way up. And I'm pretty sure the bottom will be right. Yep, the bottom will match as well. So just do the same thing. You just want to pay attention to make sure that you're getting everything in line here, and make sure that the panel, you can make the panel a little bit oversized, just like the zip is a bit oversized, and that will give you a little bit of wiggle room then. Same thing, sew it, open it, press it, top stitch it. So there we have it, all that's done. So now we take the back piece, and of course this front piece should be the same size, or if it's a little bit longer, just trim them to suit. This is just a rough pocket just to pop things in. And then I've got some binding fabric here, so I'm just going to attach the binding only on the 3 sides, because this will be caught in the top binding of the bag. Just need to be careful when you're coming over these seams of the zip back and forwards a few times, and when I get to this point I'll move the zip into the middle so that I'm not trapping my zipper pull on the wrong side of everything. And that's what the little internal pocket would look like. Now, you might wish to bring this further up or make your pocket deeper, because my phone pops out the top. So if you wanted to be able to zip it up, my phone's never far from my hand, so this is going to be for lip balms, house keys, car keys, that type of thing, things that I don't want rattling around at the bottom of the bag. So I'm going to baste that in place. What I'm actually thinking I'm going to do, because of how I've done the quilting, I've done it in horizontal lines, I might actually just again stitch in the ditch here next to the binding to secure the pocket to the back of the bag, and I don't think you'll even see because of how I've done the quilting. Or if you didn't want to do that, you could just hand tack it with an applique stitch all the way along the bottom there as well, just to give it extra security and mean that you can pull this with one hand, because if you're going to pull the zip, it needs a bit of resistance, doesn't it, to be able to slide the zip across. So I'm at least just going to get that basted in place so I don't forget the pocket as well. Well, let me tell you, that was a confusing 2 or 3 minutes. I had to remove my handle basting and baste the pocket and the handle together, because if I didn't do that, it would have either trapped my handle underneath, or it would have meant I wouldn't have been able to bind the two correctly. So I think now I'll be able to bind it correctly. Only time will tell. And that's what I quite like about basting, because had I have left that step to when I actually need to attach them, that logistics might not have worked out very well. It still might not work out in my favour, but for now we've got a pocket in the bag. And that's always an improvement to a tote bag. There's always something that you need in a little pocket. So now I think I need to just get on with the binding, so I could do that step straight away, bind the top and the bottom and see how it all works out. So I'm just on the section where I'm attaching the gusset together at the bottom. So at the moment, the front, it'll be one whole panel. I'll show you when I finish stitching this. I'll just get to this last little bit. I need to stitch the binding to the back for this last little section, and I'm not the best at machine stitching the binding to the back of any project. It ends up a little bit messy. I am working on it. I would really like to improve, and there's some areas where I haven't quite caught the binding on the back. For example here, instead of trying to go back over it and perfect it, I'm just going to hand stitch that little area that I've missed. There's a few others. So now the bag is one continuous panel. I need to stitch that binding correctly, and then you just sew up the side seams and then it's done. It seems rather quick. I just love it. I think that the blue binding is the perfect contrast to the quite pale bag on the background fabric. So let me do this last little bit of binding. Hopefully we'll get it good. So my tips, because this foam is quite thick, your machine should go through it no problem, unless you've got like a really old machine, it might struggle then. But my sister just has an entry-level machine and she manages to sew foam wadding without any problems. You will need a denim needle on and sew a little bit slower, because you might find that because you're sewing through something that's quite thick, quite lofty, you might skip some stitches. So what I've done on this bottom seam is I've reduced my stitch length just to 1.5. My normal setting is 2, and I am just, because obviously I don't want to skip any stitches, but I also want to make the bottom of the bag really nice and secure. So I've decreased my stitch length, so I've got more stitches there, so that might balance it out if I skip stitches. There's only been a few instances where that's happened, and because the stitches are so small it's not making a huge difference. But I'm just slowing right down using a denim needle and I'm not having any issues. In the places where I was sewing through the handle, the pocket and the foam wadding and then the binding, you need to go nice and slow over those areas. And that's all you can do. But don't be afraid of the foam. That's a funny thing to say. Don't be afraid of it. It is really good. It's worth the payoff, but it's a little bit awkward to sew. The results on bags compared to regular wadding is just really, really good. I enjoy using it and it is worth it, the expense and the aggro. It's a moment of truth. Let's see how many areas I've missed. Just 1, 2, all of the last section. I might try and redo that last bit because I want to make sure that it's caught when I'm sewing again. So if I can at least catch that last corner, that would be helpful. I think that caught the very last bit at least, because what I don't want to do is to like end up folding the binding back the wrong way when I'm sewing the next seam. So yeah, I'll just go back over and catch the places that need catching, like there. I ought to go back and do that because it could be the same issue again. Right, anyway. Isn't that fabulous? So this, for the gusset, all you do is you fold it in on itself, so it's got a crease like that. So that's what gives you that gusset texture, but then also it allows you to fold it flat. I did, before I started making it, I clipped it all together so I could see what it would be like, and if that gusset would actually lay flat when you've got things in it, and it does, and it means that the bag stands up by itself as well. So let's press on and get this last little bit done. We'll do the last leg. And the bag is now completely finished. Sorry, my dog just squeaked her ball. So that's the front and the back. And I've got the little handle here for Minky Kim. Actually sells like a little purse, like a circular purse that zips from the back, I think it does, so I'll definitely be making that. And when you put stuff in there, that's how the bottom looks, so it does stand out really, really nice. And I really like that the top comes together, because when I was thinking about making a tote bag, I was thinking of, you know, ones that have a gusset all the way around, and then the top is quite open. But what I like about this is, by nature, the top is quite closed together, because I was thinking, oh, I'll put a zip on there and things, but I don't think you really need a zip because of how closed it is, and the internal pocket if you needed extra security. But don't forget to make it smartphone appropriate size. I'm so happy with it. I'm so happy with it. I think I'm going to need to take it to a quilt show as a bit of its first outing. The Malvern Quilt Show is in the middle of October. I was telling myself I didn't really need to go, but I think I need to go to take the bag. Because it's going to be its first test, isn't it? Now, I hope you've enjoyed this 2-part video. There is a 3rd part coming next week, where hopefully I'll be sharing with you the finished campervan quilt, hand quilted and bound, fingers crossed. If you do make this bag or anything campervan related, send me a photo or tag me on Instagram. Now, in a few videos ago, I said about the community tab on my YouTube channel. I've tried everything I can to get that thing set up, but it doesn't seem to work. Someone posted something on the posts section and I can't even reply to it, so it's not what I thought it was going to be. I don't know if it's not set up correctly, so I really do apologise for that. If you want to share any of your work with me, tag me over on Instagram, and hopefully I'll be setting up a Facebook page soon. Yeah, Facebook, it'll be a page, not a group. But I'll be setting something up on there, so you'll also be able to contact me on that platform if you're not on Instagram. I am just so tickled with this bag. So, also I wanted to share with you, obviously I've got lots of this fabric left over, so I'd like to make that little accessory that goes on here. And also I've got lots of these, and don't you think that would just be perfect? So a nice little matching coin purse to go with this, with some of the perhaps with a little bit of the leftover cheetah print. I'll have to keep you updated on the things that I make, and until the next time I see you, you take care and happy stitching. So here's an up close look at the tote bag. I hope you've enjoyed this little video series, and don't forget, if you would like to download June's Journey, you can do so with the QR code on the screen or the link in the description or pinned comment.